Welcome back to part 2 of the Ebb and Flow Shrug Crochet Along. I'm Sammi Polascik from Featherbox Art, and before we begin, I'd like to show you on the finished piece the rows that we will be working on today. So part 2 is rows 8 to 15, and I've marked them with stitch markers on the finished piece so you can see what we will be working on. We will be working on rows of shell stitches, perfect for the name Ebb and Flow, and then 2 border rows of double crochet at the end. Beginning our actual crochet work for row 8, first I have switched to yarn A, which is the medium blue yarn, by doing that in the turning chain before I begin our row 8. And row 8 is where we start our shell stitches, and this is how we make shell stitches. So we did our turn 1 turning chain. We are going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then we are going to do 5 double crochet in that next stitch. I'll do the first couple along with you so you can get a visual of what doing these shell stitches look like. Okay, we have done our 5 double crochet. After that, we are going to skip 2 stitches and then do a single crochet in that next stitch. And then we are going to repeat this pattern of skipping 2 stitches, 5 double crochet, skip 2, single crochet until we get to the last 4 stitches of the row. I have come to the last 4 stitches of row 8, and what we are going to do here is skip 1 stitch, 3 double crochet, then skip 1 stitch and single crochet in the last stitch of the row. Now row 8 is completed. You can see the beginnings of these shells. Moving on to row 9, we will be switching to yarn B. I've switched to yarn B for row 9, and now we are going to get started on the actual crochet work. We are going to double crochet in that first stitch, single crochet in the stitch after it, and then we are going to skip 2 stitches and 5 double crochet in the third stitch, okay, after we finish that 5, going to skip 2 stitches and single crochet. And you're going to repeat that pattern of skipping 2 stitches, 5 double crochet, skip 2 stitches, single crochet until the last 2 stitches of the row. For the final 2 stitches of row 9, it will be skip a stitch and then 2 double crochet in that final stitch. Row 10 is actually repeating the directions for row 8 except switching to yarn C, which is the lightest blue yarn. So the directions for row 8 are skip 2, 5 double crochet, skip 2, single crochet until you reach the end of the row with 4 stitches remaining, where you will then do skip 1 stitch, 3 double crochet, skip 1, and single crochet. So I'm going to go ahead and catch up, and I'll meet you on row 11. Row 11 follows the directions for row 9 except switching to yarn A, medium blue. Row 9 directions are to double crochet, single crochet, skip 2 stitches, 5 double crochet, skip 2 stitches, single crochet, repeating from the skip 2 stitches, 5 double crochet, skip 2 stitches, single crochet for the entire row until you get to the final 2 stitches, where it will be skip 1 stitch and then 2 double crochet. I've gone ahead and worked rows 12 and 13 just because they are repeat rows with the directions for row 8 and row 9. So row 12, you will be switching to yarn B, which is the darkest blue yarn, and repeating the directions for row 8. And then row 13, you will be switching to yarn C, the lightest blue yarn, and repeating directions for row 9. And for row 14 and 15, it's going to be switching to yarn B, that darkest blue yarn, and then double crochet across those two rows, 14 and 15, which will be our final row for part 2. I just finished the final 2 rows of part 2, 14 and 15 in yarn B, and we're going to do some finishing touches before we wrap up part 2. You might want to count your stitches again, marking each 10th stitch if you choose, and then taking your scissors and trimming any loose tails from when we did color changes, because we did quite a few with these shell stitches. Join me next time for part 3, where we will start with row 16. See you then.